Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
You want to give us all a quick report?
Is this it for class today?
I'm going to get Allie and Johnny right?
Should we just all do a check-in?
Yeah, let's do a
Alright,
check-in. I'd like that. Yeah, I'd like that. Okay. Let me see if I can get Allie and Johnny here.
So it's just not all about me.
And then we can talk about universal design, because you guys had a little bit of homework, right? To go do your thing. So we'll do a quick check-in and then
A quick check-in.
yeah, sign in. Hello, thank you.
So I just have, I'll wait till my check-in.
Okay.
I'm dealing with anxiety.
Why?
Because I'm taking 11 students to
Yeah, when are you going?
the week, March 4th, we're leaving, and we're coming back at 12.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'm taking a van, I'm driving 11 students to the border, taking them over to Mexico, which is all good because it's a great organization.
Yeah.
It's just that part of like, oh my gosh, I'm in charge of, like, it's just me taking them, you know, not me with like a mentor. I'm the mentor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tara.
Don't you could get like some kind of intern type person to help you?
Yeah, is there a leader?
Well, I think I'm okay with I can handle them. I'm more like driving a van, what if I get a flat tire?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I'm more
So there's
like
somebody
concerned
else
about
there if something like that does happen.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is be proactive, and because it was brought to my attention, these things could happen today, I was like, oh yeah. I'm going to talk to Naomi and say, okay, then I need somebody to go over all this with me. Like, where's the emergency kit? Where's this? Where's that? And how to change a tire. I have to put up a tent. I have to do the whole thing.
But tent.
Yeah, we're going to be sleeping in tents.
You are?
Well, yeah, we're going out into the desert. We're going to look different water stations, and we're going to maintain them. We are doing humanitarian aid.
Wow.
Take a lot of water with you.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty, like, I'm like really honored to be a part of this and flattered, and like I get to go with them, but it's like the real deal. I'm like, we're actually going to do this.
You know, I just want to bring up something that when my sister does things like this, there are always people, like contact people when she gets there.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, we
you
are
have
totally
those people on the ground, like
Yeah, no,
when you
we
get
are.
there? Okay.
The thing is, what I really appreciate about United College is that they don't leave any rock unturned.
Okay, good.
So
I mean, they have to,
my
right?
role
They're
is
responsible
really
for.
is just to be the mentor for the students. They are supposed to do everything, and then I just have to get them safely to the destination, and then we go, or basically go right into border, no more desk care, and they facilitate everything, and then I just have to bring them back. So I don't have to like arrange anything or do anything other than get them there safely and change a flat tire.
Okay.
Get one and put my own tent up.
But make sure they all drink their own water if you're going to the desert.
Yeah, that'll be all. It'll be all covered. I mean,
They'll have yeah.
Oh,
They
no,
have
they're-
like that supplies when they were there last time. Yeah.
the thing about the United World College is these are the elites. These are the best of the best. They don't get into the school because they got lucky. They get in there because they deserve to get in there, which I really appreciate them reminding them of that today. Like, because basically what Project Equate is the student picks the group he wants to be in, and they have all these humanitarian aid things going on, whether it's homeless shelters, going to the border, juvenile delinquency centers, and they go for 7 to 10 days and immerse themselves. So it was really nice to have the assembly today because I forget about these things, but they're like, okay, no sex on the trips and none of this.
Oh, right, because
no
they're...
drinking. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Okay, that's right. That's what happens
yeah.
on these trips, you know. But the biggest message was like, you students are here for reasons that you need to remember why you're here. So you shouldn't be doing all these other things. You should be like, you're the leaders, you're the change. So they need to like step up and it's not all of the students. From what I understand, there's like 90% of the students follow and are there for the right reasons. But then there's that 10% who are like trying to figure out, hey, maybe we can drink, maybe we can have sex, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And I'm like, wow, this is wild, you know? Like, they're all good kids. I haven't been through them. They are. It's
maybe
just,
not all of them at the same time.
well, they're just teenagers.
They're teenagers,
Testosterone,
they are just
hormones,
kids.
and they're, away from home.
And away from home.
But driving them there.
Have you driven that far before?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I can drive. I can make it to San Diego and that.
Nice.
I'm very proud of myself.
Answer?
Yeah. When I figured out that I could make it to LA to
Hey.
my home in one day, I'm like, uh-oh. I'll be there in 12 years.
Hey, Johnny.
Hello, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
All right, we're waiting for Allie, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. What we'd like to do is start the class by getting a kind of a quick recap from everybody about what they've been doing. And then I posted something on the Facebook page about universal design. And, okay, great. And so then everybody had a task to research specific parts of the exhibit we're going to put together for Leslie's visit. And we're going to hear from them, and then we can get with you about what you can contribute from afar. and we'll kind of brainstorm that together. How's that sound? Okay, great. So I guess we can start, maybe Tara's been chatting a little bit about what she's doing, and maybe just recap that for Johnny. And then we'll go
Hi,
around the
Johnny.
room.
Yeah. So I'm just, what am I doing now at United World College? I'm doing a lot of different tasks, and the exciting one and the nerve-wracking one right now is that I'm taking 11 students to Tucson for Project Week in March, and we're teaming up with No More Deaths, and so we get to go across into Mexico to different water stations and maintain them, and we'll be camping out for a whole week and living this life that I'm really excited about, but I'm just nervous about it because I'm in charge of 11 teenagers, driving them to Arizona, Tucson, but it's not like I haven't done it before, but they were mine. But they're mine.
4 children.
It's different when they're yours, because then you can be a little more like, assertive. But fortunately with me, I'm with a good group of students. I met them today. I know some of them, and the fact that they chose this particular project means to me that they're serious about what they want to do to help and providing.
Yeah.
It's not, because they have all these trips to choose from. Some can go to New York, some can go here, some can go there. So they all wanted to be a part of this. So I think they all know what they're doing, and I know what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to get over that part of I'm driving a van. I'm in charge if there's anything goes wrong. But the best part is I don't have to do anything but get them there and make sure that they get there safely. And since they're young leaders, they have to take charge and plan the budget and the fundraising and all these things, because we have to do all these things.
So here's my suggestion. The United World College does a lot of trips like this.
Oh, yeah.
And there are people who have led students in somewhat potentially dangerous situations, like going up to the yurt outside of Taos, which is a 2,000-foot climb in 2 miles. So that's 1,000 feet a mile, and they carry full packs on their backs, and it's deep snow, and there's all sorts of risks, right? And so there are people who lead trips that are potentially that could have potential danger. Is that static coming from you, Johnny, or is that from me?
I think that's from me.
It's probably the heater.
The heater?
It lays off a little bit of it.
Can you hear it?
Not anymore, no.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, all right, good. So I'm going to suggest you reach out to one of them.
Yeah. And Naomi would be that person,
And
because
Naomi
Naomi
would
drives
be
the
right.
van. Naomi does.
Right.
I have an incredible mentor in Naomi, I really do, and she's been put in all these situations, so I know that I just have to, and she keeps telling me I'm going to do it, so I know, okay, I'm going to do it. So I know I'll work all that out.
Okay.
And I don't even know if I'm worried about the students as much as I'm worried about myself in handling it, but I think I will. I'm really excited by this. So I met with them today. and they're doing the fundraising, and of course I can never keep my mouth shut. I'm like, oh, I have ideas.
Right.
So, but they're excited about it because I do stencil. I said, well, I do stencil art. We could do no more deaths. We could do, you know, one of the students said, well, can we do beads? I'm like, of course we can do beads.
Right.
So they're a very enthusiastic young group who want to raise money. And so what it does is, the way No More Deaths works is we have to pay them $300 each for each student, for each of us. That's the minimum. And then if you can pay them more, then that's even better, you know, because all the money goes to maintaining this very important and vital organization that helps migrants cross, and not so much crosses, but that keeps them alive with the water. So the students, we only really have to technically make $1,800, but they want to make $3,500 because everything that we make over will go directly to No More Deaths.
Okay.
So, so I really appreciate that gesture on their half. So I'm really excited about it. And then we just came off a climate change conference, and I did all the documentation, which was a lot of work when it's just one person. It was really easy when you have a whole team of AmeriCorps interns, but when it's just one, I was like running all over. But I loved it, and I got to meet more people and that are doing the work here in New Mexico, as well as from all over for addressing climate change. And so, yeah, and then we did a fundraiser thing for Working Films, which I had invited everybody on. And so I'm trying to share a lot of this on the Facebook page, so that you know, not so much what I'm doing, but just that these resources and these people are out here that we may be able to tap into as artists or as professionals. Faith actually did go to the Working Films. I met people from Santa Fe Art Institute who are really excited to partner up with United World College, even AmeriCorps students. I mean, so there's all these bridges that seem to be building and forming as I'm watching them unfold, which is really interesting. I also met the director of New Mexico Films here in New Mexico, who they're doing documentary work, called out, and they already have you guys on the list, Highlands.
Oh, good.
So I feel like that is a really beneficial part of my job, and I'm going to admit that I didn't have any business cards, and I wasn't able to give any out.
Oh, wait, you were all supposed to have your business cards.
I got them approved by Lauren, but I haven't printed them, and I didn't even think about it until everybody started giving me their business card, and I was like, oh, look at these precious business cards, because these were the ones I wanted. And then I thought, oh, I don't have any. I'm probably going to get dock points for this, but I'll work on that now.
Okay.
I didn't realize I'll have them before I go on the trip.
Okay, that's
I'll have
a good
them
goal.
before I go on my
Well, that's
project.
midterm, so you usually
Okay,
have them.
I'll have
before
them.
that.
I
Okay.
have them ready to go, and I'll share them with everybody once I
Okay.
get them. I'll give everybody one. The fortunate thing is that, like, with working for Naomi, like, she wants us to do, she's asking us to apply. There's me and a couple other women up there who we work for her to apply for a racial justice workshop. So there's a lot of this, like, I realize being in this environment, I have to be really tap into more of this education part of doing this work, as well as the multimedia part.
Right, so this is really important because this is nonprofit work, right? When you do nonprofit work, this is what you do. You end up doing a lot of educational workshops, you end up doing a lot of fundraising events, you end up doing a lot of things that you know, push for causes you believe in, and being spokespeople for causes you believe in. So it's just important to understand that that's a career path for people, is nonprofit work. And people from Highlands who have gone on to do nonprofit work are Melissa Marquez, who's working at the Santa Fe Animal Shelter, Zena Montoya, who's working at the behavioral health something in Los Angeles, where she's helping to design brochures to educate people who just get out of prison about their options.
She's actually in charge of 2 people.
She's in charge of 2 people, exactly, Zena is.
Yeah, and that's important work. I mean, I think it's really great that...
It's really important. We have 2 former AmeriCorps, 2 former, one's a former AmeriCorps intern, the other is a Highlands graduate who are working at Olay, which is a nonprofit to increase, to help with political awareness around early childhood education and undocumented immigrants' rights. And so that's Gabriela Hernandez and Rebecca Glenn, who I don't know if you remember any of those students, but they were here quite a while ago.
Yeah.
I know Gabby,
So,
yeah.
Gabby, yeah, sure. So these, so nonprofit work, right, is a career path, and it's a career choice for a lot of people. And just so you know that these are viable and important options, and when you've got somebody who believes in a cause like Tara does and does a lot of the work associated with it, it's really important to know that this is something you can devote your life to. Making a difference in other people's lives in this way.
And I think that's what's kind of coming home to me is realizing that, especially after this weekend, that, and then, just working with Naomi, and she's like, okay, like she just feels that you can do it, so you feel like you can do it too, but sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, yeah, I would like to take a racial justice training. I think that'd be fantastic. I would like to take students here. I think that'd be fantastic because it strengthens my ties into, or my foundation in the work I'm doing. But also as an artist, it really inspires me, and the work that can be done, the creative part, like to me, is never ending for me. So kind of bringing the students in on that is giving them another way to express through art. Like I can add that element, I realize.
Right.
To
any of the work that you do.
And any of the work, and they're totally up for it, and then they give back to me in ways that I didn't even think about, so.
Okay, excellent.
That's my chicken.
Thank you, Tara. We're gonna go, Jake.
About my internship?
Yeah,
Okay,
just to check in, tell us what's going on, how it's all working.
All right, well, so far it's going good. This last Friday, we shot another 2 interviews. We're shooting for 2 interviews a week. In fact, this last Friday, as I was telling Lauren earlier, I had one of those moments where it's like, oh, I love my job. We were talking to this gentleman, his name is Marv Van Dilla. We were interviewing him, and he had one of those interviews where you press the record button on all of your equipment, and then he tells a story that just draws you in. And the next time I looked at my recorder, an hour and 20 minutes went by. I was like, whoa. He talked about just all the science projects that he was in at the lab. He worked on the Human Genome Project. He worked on figuring out how DNA works from parents to children, how we pass along our traits to our children and stuff like that. And it's really interesting getting.
You did this for the Cold War?
Yes.
It's so interesting.
He was really into the whole biomedical field, and so there was a lot of biomedical research being done at the labs alongside work on the bombs and weapons and stuff like that. And it's been really interesting interviewing all these people and getting different perspectives about Los Alamos as a whole, because so some people loved the fact that the government owned Los Alamos, and they hated it when it went open to the public. And then
That's interesting.
So some people were loving their work on the bombs, while other people were totally against it. But it was just a thing that they had to do. But this internship is going well. We figured out an idea of what to do as far as working on something that we can use for our portfolio. We're working on going through all of the interviews that we've recorded, selecting parts that we think are the best little tidbits in all of our interviews, and then putting together a final video that tells an all-around story of Los Alamos. And then we'll also use that towards the end of the project to do a presentation to the faculty there at the museum and whoever else wants to show up.
Are they using these videos? They're going to archive these in the Historical Society, and what is ultimately going to be the use?
What they're doing for these is, 1, these are going into archives for research purposes, and then 2, they will use these interviews to pull from when they are creating new exhibits that they're going to install on Bathhouse Road there in Los Alamos.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But like I said, the internship is going great.
And the deliverable is what, in a raw footage, or?
Yes, it's edited as far as cleaning up the audio
Okay.
and taking out parts that don't really have to do with it. Like, for example, if our interviewees get a phone call during the interview, we have to go in and cut that out.
Right.
But beyond that, it's the raw interview with title cards. And
Okay, all right, very good,
So.
excellent, okay. Matt?
Well, most recent, of course, I finished with Moscow. The project that I was doing was the first beginning of getting an online exhibits database set up for them. They had images and captions, which is the data that they had, but they had it in a Word document. But Doug taught me how you can convert that Word document into an Excel document that can be read into a database, which,
What?
yeah, it's you basically get the different parts, because fortunately they had like every row was a different bit of information.
Okay.
Right. And so we just, instead of cut out the paragraph and put in, through a process, we put in commas, and then those commas are read when we put into a database, and it puts it into the
That's
different
what comma
steps.
separated
It's comma separated value.
means.
Yes,
You can do that in a Word document? You can go into a Word document, put commas in, and then save
No.
it as a CSV? No, okay.
No, you take it into a
I'm
Word
like, oh my
document.
God, this changes my life if you can do that.
Well, see, so Excel does do that. It converts, there's a process you convert tabs into commas
Mhm.
and paragraph breaks into what would be a line break in the Excel document.
Okay, all right.
Then you take that into the Excel document.
Uh-huh.
Then we cleaned up the data to make sure that it actually fit into
Right.
the places where it's supposed to go.
Right,
But part of the process is trying to get that as straight as possible and
Sure.
clean. Then the Excel converts it to a comma separated value.
okay,
Then a couple of the learning processes, like making sure it's in the right format, UTF-8 format, which is just fancy words of saying, learning how to read accent marks.
okay.
Anyway, so
Right.
we conserve the accent marks, change it to UTF-8 and make it
Mhm.
comma separated value, put it in the database, and then we use a software called Omeka, which is a data management system where Robin, who's there at the museum, she can go in and on each item make sure all the data is correct or change and add new things. Fortunately, she was took to it very much like a duck to water, in that she'd used a system similar before.
Mm.
And I'm like equating it to look like it's WordPress, but she's seeing it as a different sort of software that she's used in the past. But Doug told me what it was, but I forget what it is. So we got that completed by the end of January, which was nice, because it was that kind of a time
Well,
crunch as it came up to the end.
Yeah, and the other thing that this leads into kind of naturally is that we're trying to get Natasha back into an AmeriCorps position.
Right.
And Natasha would be, part of her AmeriCorps internship this spring would be taking the information that Matt's put into Omeka and creating online exhibits, working with Robin Gavin, the curator at Museum of Spanish Colonial Arts. So
Yes.
Natasha will be learning WordPress. She'd be working with Matt to help get those collections, make sure that she's using the right format to get those collections online, and she'll be working with the curator to put together online virtual exhibits, which she's very interested in doing. So,
Awesome. Yeah.
so we just have to get, there are all sorts of stuff with AmeriCorps. She's got to apply online, and it hasn't been approved yet, right? You guys all know this, so she's waiting. But Natasha will probably be joining the class here in the next couple weeks. So,
Great.
um,
Yeah, so you can make
so,
online exhibits, so that right now it's just a bare bones listing, and you can see it publicly online. It's collections.spanishcolonial.org, but it's not, of course, 100% completed yet. But the online exhibits would be I'm assuming would be to sort of grab collections of things and to show them together in a group.
right, exactly.
And
So
grouping as an
Robin would
exhibit.
determine what pieces would go together for a virtual exhibit, and then Natasha's job would be to get those into a format that looked,
Right.
that were designed and looked well in WordPress. So it looked good in WordPress. So that's what Natasha will be doing for part of her internship.
Mhm.
She's got some other pieces too, but but yeah.
Right, yeah, so that'll be my next, I'll be working with her too in the future, when, probably, well, in the next couple of weeks then,
Mhm.
when she comes on.
Yep, when she comes on board. All right, excellent. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Okay, Gloria,
So
I'm
what,
gonna turn Johnny towards you so he can see you.
okay. So what we are doing is just basically the same thing we've been doing, is taking pictures. But mostly now I'm editing them because we have so many different people taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of boxes in the photographs and a lot of shirts that shouldn't be there.
Oh.
So I have to go through them and edit them and.
Wait a minute, so everybody's taking photographs and they're not putting things back, or what? I don't understand.
She has, okay, so our setup is overhead,
Mhm.
over.
Yeah, right,
So-
right. The tripod is facing down.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the
So-
camera's
and then-
facing
yeah,
down
so
on the
it's
tripod.
hooked to the computer,
Mhm.
so that way, we do it live shooting.
Mhm.
And you just have to make sure that the shirts and the color bars and the scale
Mhm.
is in there, and make sure that there's nothing else around it.
Mhm.
But they tend to leave the boxes in the shop, the corners, or like a box
Mm.
like right next to
Oh,
the color
jeez.
bar. So I'm working on editing those, and
So who else is working on these?
she has a couple of
Are they
Volunteers.
Oh, they're volunteers.
and she has work studies from the college in Santa Fe.
Okay.
But she cut down on that because she noticed that it wasn't consistent.
Mhm.
So it's me and some volunteers.
Okay.
But I'm doing both. I'm juggling between both.
Okay.
And when I'm capable to work from home sometimes.
Mhm.
So when I'm working from home, I'm doing a Pecco smack, putting it together, kind of.
Okay. Like,
Rendering it into digital
oh,
form.
so you're photographing a map of Pecos, or you're?
I have the scans, the
Okay.
original scans,
Okay.
and I have to put it together. and
Okay.
then-
In Photoshop?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you're kind of stitching it together.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. And on top of that, I'm learning photogrammetry, so.
You are?
Yeah.
So who's teaching you photogrammetry?
Lisa's teaching it to me.
How does she know it?
They took her to California
Okay.
for a kind of, I don't know what it is.
That's impressive. Okay.
It was a 4-day class,
Okay.
and they taught her everything.
So do you think you're going to know photogrammetry? Because that's actually huge.
By April, I'm hoping, because she's trying to show me little by little what she
Okay.
did.
Okay.
And they rendered a couple of things. It was I don't know what it was. It was like an Indian head, kind of.
What do you mean, like a human?
No,
Skull?
it was, no.
Oh.
It was,
Like, what do you
it
mean?
was made out of
What do you mean?
stone that
Oh, okay.
they had to take pictures of and then put
Okay.
it together in
It was
the
an artifact. It
software.
was an art piece. Okay.
And she showed it to me in Adobe, in a PDF,
Okay.
actually.
Right. Right.
And
Because once.
it has 3D capabilities, so
Right.
we could see
Okay.
exactly what they did. So, yeah. So
Okay.
she's going to teach me that. Hopefully by April I'll know.
Great.
I'll know.
That is fantastic. That is a really huge thing
Yeah,
to learn.
I was excited. 'cause
Yeah.
when she showed it to me, I was like, "Look, this is pretty cool."
Yeah.
So
It's an amazing thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done a lot of work with photogrammetry here. Particularly when Megan was here, and you might remember that. She took people to Cuba. Were you here
Yeah, I
then?
remember.
I think I was here, but
But you were
remember.
probably very early in the
Yeah.
program. Yeah.
I
And,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, Eli went, Mariano,
Mm-hmm.
then
Ariana.
Ariana, that's right.
Shanoli.
Shanoli,
Yeah.
Miles. They
Miles.
took pictures of
Did
historical
Miles?
buildings. Did he go? Yeah, I think he did. Maybe not. Of historical buildings in Cuba, so they can preserve the historical record of these
Yeah.
of the buildings since they're kind of exposed to the weather and whatnot.
so they have a documentation of how they, you know, where they were at that point in time, so that they can compare it if there's any further deterioration or, so that's one use of photogrammetry. It's used for lots of different things, including preservation of artifacts, so that you can repatriate some of these artifacts and have a digital scan of them, and you can then do like a 3D print, or you can just show the 3D model virtually, right? So there's lots of ways in which photogrammetry can be used in conservation and preservation that's really super important. So that's great. It's a great skill, and if you know it and if you learn it, it'll really add to your ability to get a job in conservation or preservation or any of those things. So that's really cool. That's amazing. I can't wait to talk more about it on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm hoping.
Yes.
She's showing me, she's barely started to show me, like she printed out everything and all the information she had on it.
Okay.
So we're just going through it now, and she also asked me just to practice on whatever. She asked if the school had anything they wanted to preserve, or just for
to practice?
And
Go ahead. Do you want to preserve old newspaper articles? Could that be something? Or does it have to be?
It's usually a 3D model.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I see.
it would be, I mean, that's a different kind, that's called RTI. That is
Okay.
a different kind of preservation technique, reflectance,
So it has to be
transmittance,
3D, it has to be
imaging.
like an object.
Yeah, because the idea is that you do like a.
How about what I have from the American Indian, well, not the American, they weren't tribe, but when they reclaimed the island back in the late 60s and 70s, the Native American, the indigenous from Alaska,
They did a totem pole?
they didn't do a totem pole, but they took the prison guard in the guard quarters. They had all these like drawers, and so they would take them out and they bust them up, and they would carve little tiny totems, you know. And I have one, and it's like this big, and it has a totem in there. And if you wanted to try that, because I really think these things need to be archived, because this is from a historical time. And what they did is they would carve out little totems, sort of, and then they would take the ferry across to the dock, and they would sell them for money, because they had no money coming in.
Wow.
So they would do that like on a regular basis.
wow.
So these are the old guard drawers that they would just like chop up, and then they would carve, and then they would make these beautiful little
Well,
totems.
that's certainly an option.
I mean, I can bring it,
That
you
would
can
make
look
sense
at
for the
it,
Museum of Indian Arts and Culture.
and it would take something very kind of, 35 something years old, and make it kind of contemporary, but bring it back to, you know, because it's an amazing piece. I mean, it was so well made, and it's very simple, but I can bring that if you want, and you can look at it and photograph it and see if you can make,
okay.
I don't know.
And yeah,
You
no,
know,
it's a
it's
great
really
idea.
cool. I mean,
It's
it's
a great
really
idea.
a beautiful piece.
And
Light
I
sanctuary would be a nice place if you had to practice shooting inside of a building, to make a photosphere would be of the light sanctuary.
Definitely.
Because you're going to get all kinds of colors. It's small, so it's very small, so it's not like a huge thing that you have to. It's easier to practice on. It'd be smaller. I'm not sure of the process of photogrammetry that you're doing, but it would be similar to what they did in Cuba, which would be an outward three-dimensional sphere, versus if you had a three-dimensional object where you do this. So it would be a different process of the camera outside versus
Right.
inside. So I don't know if you're doing that, but I think for a building, I think the light sanctuary would be a really easy.
What about the
Yeah.
trolley barn?
But the trolley barn too. I haven't been inside it. Would they allow people inside of it, or would you shoot the outside of
I'd
it?
say that maybe the outside in
Maybe
some
the
way.
outside
Maybe
too.
not the whole thing, but
Sure.
anyway, just some things to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll ask Carrie too, what he thinks, so, or maybe you should ask Carrie.
would
Yeah.
be-
You should ask Carrie, because then he'll know kind of what you're doing, and
Yeah.
I think he'll want to contribute to that in some way. So you have a couple of things you can take to him.
Absolutely. He might even provide you with camera if you need it. You've got some extra tripods too. That might
Well,
help.
I have my own camera. That's what we're using now because we don't want to mess up the setting of the camera being used for the shirts
Mhm.
already. So I'm using mine
Oh,
right now just to
okay,
practice with it and see.
right, okay.
Yeah, that'll be
Great. All right. All right, Johnny, you're up.
Well, I'm still working on the signage. Working with David has been great because he helped me get down I guess a style, a look with the other sides are gonna take on, of starting to get a little too elaborate in what I was doing. And this is the first time that I work with this type of design where, you know, it has a lot of information. Most things that I've done before, it doesn't have so much. So he's been helping me, I guess, develop a look for that. I think we finally got one pretty much finalized. I still have to wait on the final text that's going to go on that side. But once I get it down completely, it'll be just a matter of working on the others to just insert the information to make them all look similar, since they're all going to be placed outside. But you know, in between, you know, communicating with David, I'll you know, pretty much my work involves doing research, because I still need to do one on the Apache. I have to do one on the Mogollon, which is the prehistoric culture that was there. My boss wants me to include some story about a double homicide that happened there.
What?
But I'm not sure about that one. That one's going to be a little tough, because it was about two soldiers killing each other over one of the guy's wives.
Oh my God.
And it's an interesting story, but I just don't know
How to fit it in?
how to tell that story. And because I could just put the letter that it's actually written by someone else's story, and I could just reproduce the letter, but I just don't know how that's going to look on a sign. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, it's an old story, right? Jealousy and you know, high passion, murder, whatever. Like, so you know, I don't know. And maybe in some way you can make it. You know, if he wants you to tell that story, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he might have to run that by the state. Right, the director for the historic sites, because maybe they don't necessarily want that story being told at the historic site. It's hard to say, but it strikes me as it's a bit unusual. But I can see in a way why he would want to do it, to pique visitors' interests.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Tantalize them.
The person who wrote or documented that event, you know, we've got a binder full of letters that he wrote at the time, and I'm looking through them to see if I find something that maybe have a little bit more historical significance.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, he's kind of set on that story, but I don't know. I'm not trying to see if I can find something, like I said, that's a little more relevant to the area and to the history.
Yeah, that's good, Johnny. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
And that's mainly what I've been working on. Like I said, it's just researching and communicating with David.
Great.
But it's coming along well.
It's what?
It's coming along.
It's coming along well.
Okay, excellent. I'm really glad to hear that. And yeah, we had our check-in last week, and it sounds like everything's going along well, and that David is working out as your mentor. So,
yes.
So that's really good. So for those of you who don't know, Johnny's supervisor is Nathan Stone, who's the director of Fort Sullivan Historic Site, but Nathan is not a graphic designer. So we brought in David Mendez, who helped with Coronado Historic Site and the PICT program, and I know Gloria worked with him pretty closely.
He's really good.
He's
great.
amazing. He's a graduate of Highlands,
Okay.
and he lives in Albuquerque, has his own design company, and has done lots of work for museums and historic sites. Lots of graphic design work for exhibits in museums and historic sites. So we brought him in to be the graphic design mentor for Johnny, since his supervisor doesn't really know graphic design. So, okay.
So that's good. So that's just really good support then for.
And you all have that, right? You know that you can come to me and be like, if your supervisor, it doesn't necessarily have the skill set and you need more support, we have, you know, faculty and people we can deploy to help you, even if it's just teaming you up with another AmeriCorps intern so that you have each other to work with when your mentor does not have the skill set that you need or that you want. So there are, you know, because that's really important that you guys are getting getting trained appropriately, right, in what it is you want to do. Not only having the experience on the job, but actually, you know, learning more about the field that you want to pursue. And in Johnny's case, it's design and illustration. So, Well, Johnny, I'm really interested in seeing some of those panels, so whenever you get one completed, go ahead and email me a JPEG or post it on the Facebook page.
Okay, I will.
Johnny, on your panels, what are you printing on?
That's the thing that I haven't completely figured out. My supervisor is going to put me in contact with someone else at another site, because I guess they're working on something as well. Because all the signs there are like these metal plates, you know, because they have to endure the weather. They have this kind of covering, but they're trying to find something that's a little cheaper. So once I figure that out, I'll let you know.
Cool.
Yeah, and you can also use David Mendez as a reference for that. He's done a lot of wayfinding and signage, and he knows how to design signage for outdoor and indoor use.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not sure about the materials, what they're going to be using. That's something that I was talking to Nathan about the other day. And yeah, he mentioned that a supervisor at another site's kind of doing the same thing. So I guess they're going to start pricing and finding out. Because these panels are kind of large. They're larger than what I had first anticipated. The one that I'm working on now is like 33 by something.
Oh.
And I mean, it's not huge, but compared to the ones that are out there now, it's at least 3 or 4 times larger than what's out there now.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, so they're going to have to figure out, and also a stand for them in some way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to try to make them, that's the thing about filtering down the information, is that I would like to make them all the same size. I just think it'd be cheaper to do it that way, you know, than just cut everything the same size instead of making one smaller, larger. They're all the same size and then they work out better.
Right. That's really important. And so, yeah, these are all things you should definitely talk to David about as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because he knows how to do this kind of thing, and he'll be able to advise you with that process.
I'll bring
Okay.
it up with them.
Great. Excellent. Okay, let's go on to kind of part 2. So we have 5 more minutes left in class, but we're gonna to go until 2. We're gonna go for 15 more minutes so we can talk. We can talk a little bit more comprehensively about the research you did. Yes.
I also have a question. Next Tuesday?
No. So okay. So I posted on the Facebook page that there's been a schedule change.
Okay, I didn't get to see
I
that
didn't
yet,
see
so
that
can I
yet.
go check it out?
So go check it out. So everybody should be checking the Facebook page pretty regularly, because that's where that's my easiest way to reach all of you. And so there's a schedule change for next Tuesday. Logan called me and said that they will, let's see, next Tuesday would be the 16th, right? Monday is
Yes,
the
because we
15th.
don't have a full Monday, right?
We do.
We do have school Monday?
We do. We have school Monday. We don't get President's Day off. So we
That's
have
good to
school
know.
Monday on the 15th. And what we're going to do is AmeriCorps Day at the Roundhouse. They don't have enough room for us. So so Logan basically just asked me to send a slideshow of all the work that you guys have been doing.
Okay.
So I did that, and they're gonna run it, and we don't have to be there.
So you don't need any more photos yet? 'Cause I've been taking a lot.
You have been?
Yeah.
Yes, I could always use more photos.
Okay.
I can always use more photos, so if you have them, please, yeah, please give them to me.
I'll get them to you ASAP.
Right.
They're like right out of the camera. I need to edit them a little bit. but
Okay,
I'll
so
get them.
edit, and that goes for everybody, right? So, photos of the work that you're doing, any of the progress, so, because I'm always sending photos to the state office so they can post on their website, and then I tweet occasionally about the program, so I like to have a battery of photos I can choose from.
So we can post those on the page?
You can post them on the Facebook page.
Because if I just post.
That's
them
where
on
I
the-
get yours from.
Okay.
I
So
just
that's what I
download
figured
yours.
that I
I
could
just
just-
download yours from the webpage.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna-
not everyone posts photos on the webpage, so if you don't, that's fine, you can. But if you don't,
Makes it easier just to send it to you.
just send them to me
I
somehow.
mean, for me to do that, then.
Yeah, I get yours
I can
from-
totally put them on Facebook if you want me to.
put them on Facebook.
I think the good
As long
thing
as
about
they're-
sharing some of them on Facebook is then we can see each other's work.
Yeah, I mean, the Facebook page is there for a reason. Like, that's why, is that I want everybody to have that camaraderie and that
This is hard.
feeling.
Sounds
Right.
good. So we'll have class next Monday. But
So-
we won't have that interview Tuesday?
Okay, we will, wait, okay, so there's two separate things happening, right? There was AmeriCorps Day at the Roundhouse, which was supposed to be on Tuesday. That's canceled. Instead, we're gonna have class Monday,
Okay.
on the
Thank you
15th.
so much, okay.
And that class on Monday is gonna be your dress rehearsal for Leslie coming the following Monday, the 22nd
Of February.
February. And let's back up a
So
second.
we're in February 8th, okay, let's talk
So-
about those now.
Okay, today, that's what we're doing, we're gonna,
Yeah, we're doing
okay.
that, we're doing that.
And, the 15th, schedule change.
Okay, I did see
Okay.
this.
Instead of the
Okay.
16th, it's the 15th, we're gonna meet here.
Okay,
Johnny, you will be where you are, virtually. And, we're going to set up a prototype, of what we're gonna do for Leslie.
Cool.
So
The
I would.
following Monday is the 22nd, and that's when
is
she's gonna be here.
Gonna be here, right.
So we have 2 weeks, okay? Then, but what you need to know between February 15th and February 22nd is that Logan is gonna be here on campus for, a site visit. It's a regular routine monitor visit. He goes through all my files, he makes sure that all of you guys are in compliance, he makes sure that I have all the records I say that I have, blah, 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 right? So he's gonna be doing that for 3 days. And, one of those days, on Wednesday, he would like to take a half an hour slot out of Wednesday afternoon and interview each of you guys. And those were the interview questions I sent to you about your AmeriCorps service, right? Is it service related? Do we treat you like employees, or do we treat you like interns? Do you understand the link between what you're doing and the broader mission of AmeriCorps and serving the community, and how in fact do you feel that you're doing that? He's gonna ask you a lot of questions about AmeriCorps, about your service, about how it's working for you, about whether you feel that it's beneficial to you. He's gonna ask you all these questions. It's a matter of he wants me out of the equation so he can hear directly from you. He's like, I don't want you there because they're going to influence what they say. So he's gonna talk to you individually. I don't think I have anything to worry about, but I'm just letting you know that's what he's doing. So I'm gonna set up half an hour time blocks for him to talk with you, and I'll post those half an hour time blocks on the Facebook page, and you just need to sign up for one of them.
Okay.
And
Great.
either you come if you're in Las Vegas or in this area, you come here for the interview. Johnny, he'll call you on Google Hangout. He'll call Allie on Google Hangout, and Chris. We need to get the word to Chris and the word to. I've already talked to Victoria and let her know. So, okay.
Great.
So that's what's happening on the 17th. That's between,
Next Wednesday.
yeah, that's between our class, when we meet, that's between
Okay.
when we meet for class next Monday and set up a prototype, and when we meet the following week with Leslie.
I would like to try to sign up for the latest
Mm-hmm.
interview, that way I can leave
Santa Fe
Santa
late.
Fe the latest.
Fine, that's totally fine. I mean, he needs to wrap up his day by 5, so if you sign up for 4:30, you could do that.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
great.
Means you have to leave Santa Fe by 3:30.
Right.
Okay. Now, here's the other thing, and it just now dawned on me. One thing we can do with Leslie's visit is we can give her all the raw materials and we can set something up with her.
There you go.
So like give her, so this is what we have and how do we.
Yeah, how
That
would
might-
we set something up?
That-
Because
it
it
could be
seems
more of
like,
a discussion, I think, like, let's bring some of the materials.
yeah, why don't we do that?
That would be better than
Yeah,
trying to
because-
pull off a
Why don't we do
exhibit.
that, right? No, I agree.
Kind of a in the dark sort of
Craft
vibe
something
thing.
with
Yeah.
guidance.
I think that's what we should do. We should be like, here are our raw
Yeah.
materials, and
The
that,
idea of
what
the
that's
path,
gonna
like, how do we
require,
make this happen?
bring in like
Sketch or
samples
something?
of materials, even swatches, samples, like astroturf, carpet, whatever, right? Of a path that somebody would walk down.
I love that.
Tara, bring in,
Oh, we have the
bring in
recorded
the
in the
audio,
slideshow.
and you have the
Yeah, we got
We
it.
can just show it
slideshow.
off on the
Slideshow,
computers and
yeah.
stuff, and just
Perfect.
like an idea. Instead of
Perfect.
having to project it, like, we need a table, we can meet, and then have like ideas for materials and all that.
Exactly.
That's
Some,
that's
some, like,
great.
some,
Matt,
like, milk crates. I brought some stuff today that I wanted to
Okay,
show
excellent,
everybody.
great,
if you wanna take a
perfect.
look.
And then Jake,
Have an idea of what
you
happened.
were working with
Tara on the audio.
Tara on the audio, and Chris,
So-
what was Chris gonna do? He was gonna work with you on the video part, or what? Or the audio? What were you gonna do?
I don't think we
Chris.
came to a conclusion with it.
All right, and what can Johnny do, since Johnny is a designer,
Um,
our remote designer?
I think if we decide to use text of the
Yes.
poem, maybe Johnny could just like put up some big text of it, like, so, to read it,
Mhm.
sort of thing. Because I think there should be some element of text into this.
Okay.
Whether it's subliminal messaging or whatever, or just,
Mhm.
I'm a word person, I think we should have some of that in there. I
Okay.
don't know.
So, Johnny, you have access to the poem, right? Because it's on the Facebook page?
Yes.
And maybe just take one verse, or even if it's just rising star and like
You could just take one verse of the
whatever
poem.
you want to do, whatever your creative mind would think to add to it. I mean,
Maybe do a text treatment with one section of the poem.
Okay.
Graphically, use the words remember the assignment that, I don't know if you ever had this assignment with Andrew Wallner, but he would give you one word, and then you would have to use the appropriate font and size and to illustrate that one word with font. Did he ever give you guys that assignment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So think about it that way, right? If you think about the words, what font would be the most appropriate, and how might you position that font to convey the message? Okay? All right. Excellent. Johnny has his task. Okay, Matt brought some smell stuff. Orange peel. You can't smell this, but he's grating orange peel right now.
Yeah, I wanted to get a nice,
Oh, this is great.
this is, so I thought if we could get like sample things,
Uh-huh.
and then,
Well, here's the thing about orange
that's not, this isn't grading the way it's supposed to. I think I need like a zester or something. But, okay, so the idea would be to get some fresh orange peels to mix with the juniper, just bits. And then I wanted these cloths to kind of give something more than just like a plate sitting out there that makes it, I don't know, I thought more. It does,
Well,
I thought it
we
would
could
be
do
smell
as
good.
well is they have electric oil diffusers.
Right.
And so we could do a diffuser.
We have a heating pot. here.
Yeah, you just put the water,
Put it in
some
water.
orange oil, some orange peel on it, and like some
And throw
juniper
that in
oil
there.
or pinon oil.
Yeah.
And then so we're not really doing smoke, we're actually just.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my
But
gosh, that smells good.
all you have to do is put that and that in water and turn the heat up.
Mm.
Yeah. So we can
Okay.
do
That's all you have to
And we
do.
can bring that
Yeah.
as part of it is a little, and you
Yeah.
have it here, so we
Yeah,
can
we
do that.
do.
that
We
way.
have it here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have it here because who uses it for time for
Oh
tea?
my
Doesn't
gosh, it
Shane use it
smells-
for time for
Yeah.
tea?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Isn't it a heating? What is it?
Well, it's a teapot. I wouldn't want to put juniper in their teapot.
No, not in the teapot, but don't they have
But
a
to use
heating
it to-
element? Like a,
Yeah, it's a heat plate, hot plate, right?
Mhm.
With a kettle, put it
on
on
it?
top of it, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I thought they had something else, like a little 2-burner hot plate.
No,
No.
no.
I can bring an example of just like a tiny diffuser or something, just to
Mhm.
give her, because we're just gonna give her, like, this is what we were thinking that could do this.
Right,
The scent is
right,
the orange peel, but we
Right.
can maybe do it in like some kind of diffuser.
right.
That even, they have diffusers now that are electric and it gives like a steam,
Mhm.
so it's very,
Well,
to
then
be
why
really
don't
pretty.
we plan on meeting with Leslie at 11
I like the idea.
on that day? Is
Okay.
everybody free at 11 on that day?
yes.
I don't get out till 12.
Okay,
But
well,
I
you
can see
can-
if Mariah will work with me.
You can come at noon, it's okay. I mean, I don't want to encourage you missing class, so you should come at noon. But if even noon, you'll get a lot out of what she has to say, so. So why don't we
Smells
meet
so
with her from like 11 to 2, right? So we
Yeah.
have like 3
Okay.
hours to put
Alright.
a prototype together,
That would be, yeah.
right?
Okay, and then
Yeah.
just,
That's great.
Okay, so.
So I'll hold on to these. I'll probably buy another orange of it, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think more
Mhm.
juniper? Because you just have to drive 2 miles out of town and you can get all kinds of this.
yeah. And I think that if there's somehow we can figure out how to use that as a textural thing too, to touch.
That's why I was hoping to have it out on a plate.
That's a
This-
good idea.
these shirts aren't supposed to be like this. I would cut like a square that would be just, I wanted something that would be just larger than the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just was
To hold
given a
together
whole
things.
bunch of.
What about a basket?
But, or a basket. Didn't want to spend too much money on it either.
Well, don't spend any money,
Yeah.
but.
I actually have cloth napkins that somebody just gave me, like a
Oh,
ton of them.
yeah.
And
Really?
there's squares, oh yeah, good,
Right.
like so I can stencil on them, but we can do this.
Oh,
Yeah, no, so we have, I can bring those.
Okay.
And we could even, I have brown, I have white, I mean, we could bring a
Whatever
couple colors to choose.
Yeah, bring some different, several different colors.
But,
That'd be great.
and then we could just put them on there, and just bring like a bag of that.
Right, and that's why I was thinking like out exposed, you've got the textural, you've got the
Mhm.
visual at the
Yes.
same time.
mhm,
And yeah, great.
okay. All right.
Ah, it smells
I knew it
good.
And
would smell
then
good.
Gloria,
yeah.
did you do some research on?
I did, and then I was thinking about what Tara was saying about she wanted to somehow include Braille.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Oh, how exciting.
I was researching, and I found the letters for Braille.
Oh my,
I
that's
don't know
a
how
great
accurate they
idea. That is a great,
But
Wow, Gloria, that's so cool.
That is a great idea.
Show Johnny.
I was,
Okay, can you see this?
that's a great idea.
Gloria's making a braille, she's
That's awesome.
making a braille like surface with like beads, with little
That's a
plastic-
fantastic idea, though.
little
Right.
plastic beads.
Because then, oh my gosh.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
what's even better, I'm like, not even better, this is great, can't even get better, but doing this with white or crystals, because the reflection like of stars, the glitter, and it's all like that white, like snow, like, so we could do a long one.
I mean,
I'll
the
do it
blind
with you.
person can't see it.
I'm all-
It
let's
doesn't
do
matter,
this.
you don't want to take away from people who
Right,
can.
and, but then we
Right,
still have,
exactly.
and if light hits it, then we have this reflection for people who can see it, so it's part of the environment is of the star effect,
And
right?
So good,
Star-
Gloria, that
have,
is so smart.
like,
That's
beads
awesome.
that are like, they're kind of like diamond shaped, and they're clear, so it might work. And if all else fails, I was thinking we could use your beads
Okay.
to
Oh, what a great
kind
idea.
of
Oh.
make the.
Ta!
So,
What do we,
so we're just.
where's my nose? Where's my
We
nose?
don't have to buy these.
So
What
what
a great
how
idea.
Matt
We should do the
wanted
whole
to put-
poem like that if we can. Or at least, okay, we'll do a verse, because we don't have time. I know we don't have time.
No, wait,
But we can
wait,
show it as a,
wait,
present
wait,
as a
haven't you
prototype.
already done
Yeah, the
beads?
beads are done. The beads are done. So we just need to figure out, but see, rising, like, we had to figure out the words, right?
The words, but what I was thinking
gosh, what a
with
great
this,
idea.
because right now this just says go and stop.
Mhm.
So like Matt wanted to put something before you get to the video,
Yeah.
kind of like a
Yeah.
touch, whatever. Oh, right before you get there, you can. It would say stop,
Right.
so
They
Right.
know,
it's no to stop.
they would know, it would lead them. It would
Yes.
guide them through the
Yeah.
exhibit. That's
Mhm.
There you
genius.
go.
Wow.
That works.
Like really,
Gloria.
it is.
That is so amazing.
I like the idea of doing some kind of clear crystal like this,
Mhm.
because if we have any kind of, then we could play with light and add light elements to reflect, you know, I mean, this is big. This is really big.
This is
That's like fantastic, because I was like,
cooperation.
yeah, no, this is
It was
fantastic.
hard at first because I was like, it has to be universal. It has to
Right.
be. And then when I thought about it, I was like, hey, well, why not?
Mhm.
It would be a design.
Oh
So
my
it's
gosh.
universal. Everybody will
This
see
is
it.
really
Right.
good. This is
You
good.
know.
Exactly. And the whole point, and there's no need to really belabor that article, because really the whole point is that it doesn't take away necessarily from other people's experience, it's just
Yeah.
Adding to it.
adding to
Yeah.
To it.
Adding to
it
it.
in a way that makes it accessible for everybody.
Okay, that was great.
So, brilliant.
Good job.
Genius.
Good
Yeah.
go for it.
That's
I am
really smart.
so excited.
That's so smart. Okay,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
love it. I love how.
So I
easy it
still
can
think
be.
we should play around with prototyping
Yeah.
next week. I mean, I don't
Right.
think that to the, you
Did you
know,
go to a website for that, or for the go and the stop? Is there a place to
Yeah,
find it?
I searched. Right now it's spelling out the whole word.
Okay.
Like, what
Okay,
I
so
found
this
was
is-
that if this, you just have this,
Mhm.
they would still understand it said it meant go.
Yeah.
But right now it's the G and the O.
Okay.
I don't know if there's
Oh, I see.
a way that the letters condense themselves.
Yeah.
But I
But
was
that's
looking,
good research for us to do because we don't know
Online.
where we can learn
And
enough
there's
about it.
like you can type in the word and then it'll give you,
Mhm.
so it translates it for
Could
you
you
to
share
Braille.
that link on the
Facebook
on the
page?
Facebook page so we can start exploring
Yay,
that?
very good. Okay.
I need a bedazzler. I'm like, oh my gosh, bedazzling words all over.
Okay.
Braille.
All right.
That's really amazing. I'm really inspired by that. That's great.
That is super.
Good work.
That is super. Leslie's going to be so impressed with you guys. That is so cool.
So far, so good.
All right. So far, so good. We have audio, we have Braille, we have smell.
And we have, and I'm working on.
And you're working on a
photo-
visual slideshow.
Yeah, it's a visual slideshow. I mean,
Yeah.
to kind of, these are some of the photos.
Can you see this, Johnny? I don't know if you can.
So they're not in order, but these are the photos that I took from my trip going to, there's my dad and my son. And
Oh,
this
your
is-
dad. Oh.
And so I'm really willing to this to be a part of the
Oh my
exhibit.
God, that's beautiful,
We would make little
Tara.
offerings
That's
to,
beautiful.
this is the tea that I made my dad. This is me holding my dad's hand. These are a lot of images that I captured on the trip.
That's beautiful.
So this is the tea that he named after me, as well as another tea that I would make for him. He was just really intent on having his tea. So these are like, I gave him this was part of the giveaway in the beads, was this poem, which was Ocho Cholo, and the Ike was his that I gave him. And, you know, the sage in the desert, the tortillas, just like a lot of nature sort of things, you know. I just put this together really while we were kind of talking because I just didn't have a lot of time. This was a bronze mask that Daisy made, my daughter made, and she made it right before I went to see my dad, and I just found it striking and the resemblance of I know, it was really wild. So I have this, and I can tweak it more, and but this gives you an idea of the photos that I just kind of
Johnny,
took.
can you see these?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay.
Because
Awesome.
yeah, they're awesome, right?
So,
And that
so we
give
can
you
have
an
like
idea
a big,
too
like
for
this
words.
could be projected somehow. These are all the photos I have, but I also have like video of the ocean in slow motion, or, you know, so I don't know if we want to have like the ocean just on loop, and then we have these images come in it.
Ooh.
And the reason there's so many rocks, and my big heart rock thing that everybody knows I do, is my dad taught me that when I was young. We used to stop at rest stops all the time, and he'd have us look for heart rocks, like to, you know, get us to run around. And so that's kind of implemented it. And I think it's kind of, I could arrange them so it's like a poetic essay, photographic essay to go with the poem, but it doesn't have to be like, you know, literal.
No,
right?
not at all.
You know,
It doesn't have
and
to be
with
literal,
like
right.
smelling the oranges right now, I'm just like, oh my god.
I know, it's so beautiful.
Like you can't smell them, Johnny, but it's really strong. Even if we just did that,
Just, right, that's
For
what
her,
I mean, just the orange.
just filling it in the
general-
room.
Yeah.
Like we could have a few bowls of that.
Yeah.
Like people could even touch it.
That's why I want it on
You
a
know?
plate, they
Yeah,
can reach
right?
out.
Why, it's great. We don't need to do anything special.
Right? We don't have to do. We could just have her feel it and sense it. And like I'm already like it brought back a lot of memories because we would pick them off the tree and eat the oranges while I was there.
Right.
This is just fantastic, and if we could
Stunning.
tie that in
That is
with
so stunning.
with,
That's such a good idea.
I think that's like really genius. Like there could be guardrails that lead
There you
people,
go.
and they just have to follow them. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then the stars light up as we go. It could be just a few, and then if Johnny could figure out some kind of text magic that we have, you know, to me, to explain Johnny is that it was like a star rising. There was a lot of energy. There's a lot of like, you know, like universal kind of element to me in the transition of when somebody passes. So if we can convey that in any way through text or through graphics,
Good.
play with it, and it'd be fun, and I think this is good.
Mhm.
Phew.
All
I'm
right.
much more, I was a little nervous about this, 'cause I'm like, oh no, me and my big mouth always
No,
say,
no,
let's
no.
do this. I'm like, well, we're gonna do it. Who has time?
No,
But
we can do it. We
this
can
is-
still do it. And we
But to
can,
present it to her as a
Exactly.
proposal, maybe it would be great that they'd want us to continue
well, the
this.
other thing is, she can be here to help us because she actually has designed exhibits
Okay,
for, you know, people who are blind and, you know, for
Right, she
she's
has
in
that
the accessible.
experience.
So
We're not messing
why,
around in the dark.
yeah, so why don't we just use her expertise?
yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so then the next change that's gonna be on the schedule is that that class is going to be from 11 to 2.
Okay, and you'll make that on.
And I'll put it, and I'll,
Monday, yeah.
on that Monday, the
Okay.
22nd.
Okay,
And I'm bringing Leslie up from Albuquerque, so we're gonna get here by 10 anyway, but
Okay.
just to let you guys know, we'll make sure
okay.
we'll just be
Yeah.
here in this room at 11, okay? And Johnny, I'm working on getting your travel request done. I just need to talk to accounts payable because you live in Las Cruces, but you're enrolled through Highlands, so I'm gonna have to make sure they understand that you're working from Las Cruces. So when I do the round trip from Las Cruces to Las Vegas and back to Las Cruces, they're gonna be like, what? So I have to explain it to them, but it's not a problem, it's just part of the process. And then I'll get your travel request done, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, very good. Then the next thing coming up, of course, is the AmeriCorps Winter Summit, which is on March 11th, which, Tara, you'll be away, I understand that. Perfectly excused
Okay.
absence. And then,
And then are we going to, what are we gonna do for Cesar Chavez Day? Do you want me to check with the college?
whatever you guys want to do.
And
I
see-
mean, I
don't
yeah.
wanna hog up everybody's other ideas, or having to travel, but just start planting that.
Johnny, I talked to Allie for you, and you can join them in Artesia. It won't be on Cesar Chavez Day, it'll be a couple days after, because they have something else that they're doing on Cesar Chavez Day. So it'll be like a couple days after, maybe on like, I don't know, you'll have to talk to Allie, I told her to connect with you about it.
Okay.
Okay,
Always, so,
okay, all right.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we'll save that conversation for maybe after Leslie comes, we'll start planning Cesar Chavez Day. How's that for?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then if we want to jump in, I can find out what's going on at the college.
Okay.
And if they're not doing anything, we could figure, maybe we
could
could offer, maybe we could go work on their farm, volunteer a day of working on their farm and help them.
Absolutely, that would be a
Just as,
great
like, we
idea.
could clean up
Yeah.
and just say we want to volunteer for so
Great
many
idea.
hours, okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, everyone, thank you. And,
Bye, Johnny.
all right, bye, Johnny, and we'll catch up with you next.